Mick was working hard on the state election in his small village. That night, after a long day of work, he was riding his old motorcycle alone at midnight. The road was dark and quiet, and the cool night air brushed against his face as he sped home. Suddenly, Mick noticed a figure standing by the roadside. It was a beautiful girl in a white dress. She hesitated for a moment before speaking softly. "Excuse me, can you give me a lift?" Mick paused and frowned. It was strange to see a lone girl at midnight, but he couldn't ignore her. "Sure, hop on," he said, stopping his motorcycle. The girl climbed up and sat carefully on the back seat. As they rode along the empty road, the girl began to talk. "I have been waiting here for what feels like forever," she said, her voice gentle yet odd. "Where are you headed?" Mick asked, trying to make conversation despite his unease. "Home," she replied slowly. "But sometimes, home is not where we think it is." Mick smiled awkwardly. Though some of her words felt weird, he played along. "Well, let's hope the road takes us where we need to go," he added. After about half an hour, Mick noticed a loud rumbling behind him. A big truck was coming up fast. The truck driver shouted, "Hey, stop your bike right there!" The truck swerved ahead and then halted, blocking Mick's path. Startled, Mick stopped and asked, "Why did you do that?" The driver leaned out of the truck window and yelled, "I saw a scary woman on your bike, long, wild hair in a white dress, with burned hands and a burned body." Mick turned around quickly to see the girl, but to his shock, she was gone. There was no one sitting behind him. Fear gripped Mick. "Where did she go?" he whispered. Without wasting a second, he sped up his motorcycle and rode as fast as he could towards his house. When he finally reached home, his heart pounded, and he barely managed to lock the door. Exhausted, he fell into a troubled sleep. In his dreams, the ghostly girl appeared again. She stood in the dark, smiling at him with an eerie, creepy grin that chilled him to the bone. Mick woke up in a cold sweat. As he sat up in bed, he saw, to his horror, the same ghostly figure standing at the foot of his bed. "Please help me," she whispered in a haunting tone. Terrified, Mick bolted from his house and rode his motorcycle to his mother's home, a few miles away. Bursting through the door of his mother's small cottage, he cried out, "Mother, you must help me! There was a ghost on my bike!" His mother looked at him with concern. "Mick, you're tired. You must be hallucinating. Come, sit down and rest." But Mick's voice trembled. "No, Mother, I saw her, and the truck driver said she was with me." Later that night, trying to calm his racing heart at his mother's house, Mick fell asleep. When he woke again, the room was dark, and his mother was nowhere to be found. "Mother?" he called out in panic, searching every corner of the house, but there was no answer. Desperate, Mick ventured outside into the never-ending night. Along the empty road, he saw the ghostly girl again, standing in the moonlight with that same creepy smile. Fear surged within him, and he ran. As he fled, he suddenly encountered the spectral form of his beloved dead uncle. "Mick, come with me," his uncle said softly. Mick shook his head and ran on, refusing the silent invitation. Soon after, he saw the ghostly figure of his dead wife. "Please, Mick, come with me," she pleaded in a sorrowful tone. But overwhelmed and terrified, Mick ran faster, feeling as if he were losing his mind. At last, Mick stopped and faced the ghost girl. With a shaky but firm voice, he declared, "I am not afraid of you." In a burst of courage, he lunged forward, grabbed her icy throat, and choked her. Through the struggle, she only smiled, a smile that sent shivers down his spine. Suddenly, everything went dark. Mick awoke in a hospital room, surrounded by the soft beeping of machines. His mother stood by his side, and a doctor was checking his vitals. "Open your eyes, Mick," his mother urged, her voice trembling with relief. The doctor added, "You had no pulse for a while. It's a miracle you came back to life." Slowly, Mick realized that the ghost girl had tried to take his life, but in fighting her, he had returned to the world of the living. The next day, Mick set out on his motorcycle once more. As he rode along the same dark road, he saw the ghost girl standing by the roadside, giving him that familiar creepy smile. This time, however, he did not stop. With a determined look, he kept riding, refusing to let fear rule his life. And so, Mick learned that even when haunted by the ghosts of the past, the strength to move forward must come from within. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more thrilling tales. I also write novels in different genres, like sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. If you'd like to check them out, click the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more exciting stories.